Hello, how you doing? Are you well? Hey. Go and round of applause for Steve Parry, another actor seen so far. I'm going to start on a light, fluffy note and talk about my depression. I suffered from depression for several years, but the problem is we don't treat mental health seriously as physical health in this country. Britain is the 7th richest country in the world, and we don't invest enough in talking therapies. Currently, there's a huge waiting list for free counselling on NHS. On a side note, I'm not even a comedian. I'm just a depressed person who's realised it's quicker to talk to someone by becoming a stand-up. The reason why I got depressed is because I have learning difficulties. Give it a cheer if you had a dyspraxia. It affects my organisation, social and coordination skills, but it's given me a blessing in disguise. Because of the lack of practical ability, I've been sacked from every job I've ever had. Meaning it's given me a luxury that most people don't get, which is time to think. And all I notice is people are working too hard, making other people money. For example, the first 12 or 18 years, we're indoctrinated in education. We just repeat what other people are saying. Then 50 years, we become wage slaves, paying the mortgage. And then we get a mediocre pension, and then we fucking die. Unfortunately, it's a lot worse for my Hindu parents because of reincarnation. They have to I'm going to tell a bit about dyspraxia before I move on to politics properly. Dyspraxia means I can't drive a car, coordination difficulties. I went to my doctor today, told him I had coordination difficulties. As a result, I can't drive a car. It's the only way I can get a freedom pass. That's free travel in London transport. And no word of a lie, my doctor said to me, in order to be considered for freedom pass, you have to have schizophrenia or worse. So I said, fair enough. Can I have 2 freedom passes at least? Have you ever noticed how both the main political parties in this country are exactly the same? They both went to illegal wars in the Middle East to kill brown people and steal resources. They both help their friends in the city, both continue to increase tuition fees and privatise the NHS, and they both don't give a shit about you. They don't fucking care about you. You don't get much choice in the mainstream media, do you? You just get the fucking bullshit that is the Sun newspaper and the bullshit that is the slightly left-wing Mirror newspaper. In fact, you get a wider variety of opinions in my act than you do in mainstream media and politics. At least with me, you get the viewpoint of a British Asian living in London. The outlook of a dyspraxic person and someone who's slightly autistic. As you probably guessed by now, obviously not tonight, but usually comedy clubs book me just so they can consolidate all the diversity requirements into one affordable comedian. And as you can tell from the last joke, my ideas on life are very out there. Politics is quite left field, no word of a lie. This is absolutely true, in my words. Did you know where the banking system controls us is by lending us more money than they actually deposit, thus creating money out of thin air? It's called fractional reserve banking, check it out. And if we can't afford to pay that money back, they repossess our items. Now, unfortunately, colleagues at work reckon this makes me some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist. As whereas my boss thinks this makes me a shit NatWest customer service advisor. But whenever you talk about a certain conspiracy theory or alternative politics and news, people often call you a nut job without doing the research themselves. Surely that's very close-minded. Think about it, people. We do research in every other walk of life to come to our conclusions. For example, I do research into my skill sets to see if they match the job I'm applying for. And then I realise this, with mild difficulties, I have fuck all skill set. I realise with mild difficulties that I have problems with spatial awareness, judging different distances, different heights, lengths and widths. Therefore, the perfect job for me would be a estate agent. All I'm saying is people, wake the fuck up, open your eyes. Don't believe everything the mainstream media tell you, because they're run by a few corporations, so they're going to have their own agenda. I suggest you read alternative politics, maybe look into conspiracy theories, you never know. See, that's what I'm trying to do here tonight, people. I'm trying to spread my message out there while trying to become less of a stereotypical Indian comedian. Although some of you taking a look at me thinking me asking you guys to read several newspapers a day clearly is a conspiracy theory to get you guys to spend more money in corner shops. I know that joke's based on a lazy stereotype, but I don't give a shit. I don't really care. I really don't. Because the mainstream media is full of lazy stereotypes that we don't challenge at all because we're too busy working trying to pay our mortgages off. One stereotype involves you guys, no word of lie, absolutely true. Apparently part of the media think that British workers are lazy and that's why they lose out on jobs to harder working immigrants. Bullshit. Basically immigrants are getting exploited. They work minimum wage for companies like Starbucks who pay fuck all tax. They live 10 to 15 per household, so they're more likely to get the job because they can lower their costs. No, I don't care what nationality you are. Surely the government should step in and make sure all corporations pay us a fair wage to live on. This is a point where I'm supposed to make the joke funny, by the way, but after hearing this rant, my Polish joke writer, who writes all my material, is asking for an increase in wages. But the system we live in is fucked. It really is. We live in a two-tier system at the moment. We have socialism for the rich. At every opportunity, this government has helped its wealthiest individuals. Basically, it's got tax cuts for corporations, it bailed out the bankers, and it's done nothing to avoid tax avoidance. Did you know Vodafone avoided £6 billion in tax? Now, I reckon Revenue and Customs could have persuaded Vodafone to pay that £6 billion if they offered them to pay over a 2-year contract in monthly instalments. But in the other system we have is capitalism for the poor. We're helping our poor people less and less. We're cutting their benefits. We're introducing the bedroom tax. No wonder so many people are disenfranchised with mainstream politics, like my Indian parents who voted UKIP in the last election. They voted UKIP because they also agree with one of their policies. These my Indian parents now live in this country and all they do is sit at home and claim benefits. Because ultimately they believe the British jobs should go to the British workers. You can't fuck with that logic, can you? Some of you are not sure on that. Relax, that's the joke, not strictly true. You can laugh at that. You can laugh at that, not strictly true. I mean, what part is true is our Indian parents do sit at home and claim benefits. That much is true. But they also work. I hate people who say, you can't have a go at the corporations. You mustn't have a go at the corporations because they're the ones who create all the wealth and jobs in the country. Bullshit. They say that they create all the wealth and jobs, so if you tax them more, they're going to move the operation elsewhere. As I said, bullshit. Because wealth is created by a mutual relationship between the corporations and us lot, the customer itself. For example, the corporations don't exist unless we buy the products. We have some of the power, people. It's time to wake the fuck up, isn't it? Yeah! It's time to wake the fuck up, isn't it? Like last year, when we boycotted Starbucks into paying more corporation tax, as I said, people, it's time to wake the fuck up. Who's with me? Having said that, if you want to get people to wake the fuck up, the last thing you should do is boycott a chain of coffee shops. I've got loads to go, but I'm going to leave with 2 more things. First of all, I'll tell you where I stand. I'm not a socialist. I'm left-wing on certain issues, such as civil liberties. Did you know in America they've got a piece of legislation called the National Defense Authorization Act, where in theory a suspected terrorist can be thrown in jail without trial? Now, again, there's no punchline to this joke, but this time I really don't care. I really don't. Because if a government can throw someone in jail without trial, surely by that logic I can write a joke without a fucking punchline. I'm right-wing on other issues. I think we should get out of Europe tomorrow. I don't think they're doing good for countries like Greece and Ireland, but overall, I don't mind living in a capitalist society. I'm a capitalist. But we don't live in a capitalist society, my friends. We live in a cartelist society. This society is controlled by a few corporations who dominate and control everything. There's only a few banks who control most of the finance industry, A few companies in America who control most of the media, and do you know what they do? They decide things beforehand. They decide to fix the price of their products or the LIBOR interest rate. They attend secretive meetings like the Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission with allied press, politicians and media types who all rely on each other to stay powerful. And that's why the only fucking news stories you'll ever hear, how poor people, immigrants and Muslims are to blame for everything. Now some of you taking a look at me and thinking, Don, that's very hypocritical of you. Because being the only dyspraxic comedian on the circuit, surely that makes you a monopoly. Not true. There are actually several other dyspraxic comedians on the circuit. Currently trying to find this gig. Have a good business. Thanks very much. Cheers.